hookup culture is whatever it's defined to be. You know, people come up with a word and then they fill it. You know, what's the designated driver? Oh, it's the person who drives when you're drunk. Okay, what's hookup culture? Well, hookup culture is a culture where people have casual intimacy and they just hook up, and it's not a long-term thing, and there's not really love and affection involved. You know, and to say that there's a culture is an implication that it's, you know, it's odd because there's something very not cultural about that.
In college, people stop having as meaningful relationships and start to just kind of hook up with each other when they can and don't really get to know each other as much. I met this person at the Haunt last year. He was one of the rookie training people, but he's pretty looked up to and kind of seen as one of the stars of the show. And then when I got to know him, I knew that he's a really great friend as well. And that made me like him even more. But yeah, he finally said sure and sent me his number. Hello, this is Jenny.
I think the idea of dating is kind of almost becoming
It's obsolete.
It's obsolete, and then I'm the one sitting there looking at my phone like, what's going on? Like, why am I not being texted back? Like, should I text him? Should I, what's going on with this? And you feel like the other person has all the power, even though you haven't necessarily given them the power, and they may not even know it because they may not feel the same way about the relationship.
I think that if we were communicating and if we were educating and if this was like something that we addressed, then maybe those things could be avoided.
Ladies, they want to keep up with the guys. They want to be saying, I'm hip, I'm not dorky, I'm not a nerd, I'm cool. Or maybe they're just trying to say, look, I have sexual interest. I'm not I'm not dead. I don't think that the sales pitch of, oh, it's okay as long as everybody's consenting. I mean, it could be okay if people know what they want, if they know that they're just wanting recreational sex. But I think if people are really honest with themselves, men and women, that they, and maybe more so for women than for men, I'm not sure, but maybe for both, that sex for sex's sake, even, that can not be as fulfilling as you might imagine.
So, I did say I wanted to ask you something. Yes. So, I would like to know if you would consider maybe sometime, if you feel comfortable, possibly going out with me, but if you don't, you do not have to under any circumstances, of course.
We make ourselves vulnerable to other people whenever we interact with them, sometimes more, sometimes less, and vulnerability is something that everybody wants to manage. Vulnerability is also something that's really important, because if you don't make yourself vulnerable to people at all, then you have the situation where you don't have anyone to be with. The hookup culture sounds all sexy and everybody all gets all fired up about it, but I think people are still wrestling with the same thing. How do I negotiate love and affection? How can I be smart about being vulnerable and do it wisely, but still not be so invulnerable to the world that I have no one in my life? How do I get to have physical pleasure without danger? And unfortunately, there's always some danger involved, but how can I at least do it better rather than worse?
All right. Yep, see you later. You kept on saying, I'm not shooting you down, but I'm just too busy right now, so I'm pretty sure that's a nice no. I'm pretty sure that's a friendly no. He's got a lot of other crap going on, even besides the Haunt. And I do too. So I'm sure this is best for everyone. Feels good to just kind of finally not have to be curious about it.
So you do think it was a no, though?
Yeah, probably.